for taking your time to stop, look, and listen in our divine appointment here today on another episode of Calling All Angels Hotline. That's right here, right now, from the #1 access station in the nation, and coming from the unifying city of churches, Fort Wayne. I'm Sandra, and I am so excited and honored to be in your presence today for this live call-in episode of Calling All Angels Hotline, because it truly is a random act of kindness week or month or day or time of the year. And believe me, this show is scripted not by me, but by a divine plan. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, to begin this episode, I'm going to tell you up front, the number is 260-422-3902. It's live here today at 5. John, you look so serious. Just a moment ago, you were so playful. What happened?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I'm fine.
I kind of caught you off guard, didn't I, John? That's right. It's random. And we're celebrating 10 years of random acts of kindness. And I have next to me my friends. They're angels right here in the scene today. Hi, Sunbeam.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello.
Hello. You're
Yeah.
used to that already, aren't you?
How am I? Feeling a little funny.
Feeling a little funny?
But I should, right?
I don't know.
I'm a clown.
How should you feel?
I should feel funny.
Well, I hear that you've come by to tell some stories today.
Perhaps, yes.
It's been a long time that we've been hanging out, hasn't it?
It has, yes. We've been doing random acts of kindness. I know I've been involved, I don't know, about 8 years or so, and you've definitely been into it from the beginning here.
Well, not quite from the beginning.
Just about.
I mean, don't give me all that credit.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Mm-hmm.
8 years for you?
Yes, I believe so.
4 years for me.
Yeah? Oh,
5 years for me.
Oh, I thought you were way back. Okay.
Way back.
Mm-hmm.
Way back. But it's been 10 years in our unifying community building effort here today. And I am so excited because we are the role modeling city in the nation. That's right. Our nation of believers here. Got that, John?
I got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about this gentleman on my left. I received a phone call today. See, it's starting with all of these stories about this one big story, and get a glimpse of John calling me on my cell phone today to identify himself. His name is John Newberg. Right, John? The president of
Downtown Kiwanis.
Downtown Kiwanis. You knew there was going to be a Calling All Angels hotline today, right, John?
Somebody tipped me off, yes.
Yeah? Was it an angel?
Yes, this one right here.
Ah. And who is this one right here,
This
John?
is Jean Vrabel of the Red Cross.
Jean Vrabel.
And also of Downtown Kiwanis.
Yes. She's in everything, huh?
Yeah,
And now random acts of kindness.
yes.
Yes.
She is a random act of kindness to us from God.
Really? Why? Tell us why.
Well, just look.
But why more? Tell us more about why.
Well, partly because she's given herself so wholeheartedly to Red Cross, which of course is one of the acts of kindness of all time.
Yes, it is. How many years for Red Cross?
Well,
Do you know?
24 years.
You've been with them 24 years?
I have. I started
my
as a mere
gosh.
child.
You don't look 20 years old, let alone 24 years.
That was a wonderful random act of kindness.
I only speak the truth through the vision of these lips, Jean. 24 years.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. And I've asked you to come on the show today, and you've already passed it along to John to come on.
I have.
I couldn't resist, John. Thank you for showing up today to share.
Thank you for asking me.
You're welcome. And we're going to invite the audience out there. If anyone out there knows John Newberg from the Kiwanis or Jean Vrabel, I think of Grable. Grable's a city or town or something.
It is.
So I just want to say Grable instead of Vrabel. But if any of you people out there know either one or even Sunbeam for all of their participation in the city and all of their random acts of kindness, give us a call in at 422-3902. We'd like to hear from you because you're the one who counts after 10 years in Fort Wayne. Is that the truth or what?
That is.
That is the truth. And while we're waiting, let's talk a little bit about random acts of kindness. John, will you help me out with that?
Well, as I understand it, it started back in about 1982 when somebody by the name of Ann Herbert coined the phrase random acts of kindness and senseless acts of beauty. I like that second one, too.
Senseless acts of beauty. Yes, she was the visionary.
She's the one that's tipped it off, and it took hold during the Desert Storm War as a response to the random acts of violence. So random acts of kindness. Then came the book,
The book.
which you have right there.
This book?
That book.
This book that's sitting on this little angel stand? The
Fancy
Random
that.
Acts of Kindness book. Yes. Can I share a tidbit about it? What it says in here? I'll go to the first page or something. Let's see. But it is when we step outside the arena of our normal circumstances, when we move beyond the familiar emotional and circumstantial boundaries of our lives, that kindness, too, moves beyond the routine and enters the realm of extraordinary and exquisite. Instead of being responsible good deeds, they become embodiments of compassion. And then it says, to become the perpetrator of random acts of kindness, then is to become, in some sense, an angel. An angel. For it means you have moved beyond the limits of your daily human condition to touch wings with the divine. Isn't that cool? I'm going to pass this on, Sunbeam, if you haven't looked at it some more. And we're going to continue on talking about random acts of kindness. What do you know about random acts of kindness, Sunbeam?
Well,
And your affiliate. Who are you here with?
I am here as a representative of the High Hopes chapter of Smiles Unlimited Universal Clown Ministry.
I remember singing that song.
Quite a
The High Hopes song.
High Hopes.
We've got high hopes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
I'll do you a favor and not sing it. How
Oh,
about
well,
that?
you were doing an awesome job.
Okay. But Smiles Unlimited is actually an embodiment of random acts of kindness that was started about 17-18 years ago by Don Burkowski, who his clown name was Ski. He was Polish, but his clown name Ski stood for skills, knowledge, and intelligence. He let you know that.
Skis. I like those acronyms. They work.
Yes.
They are gentle reminders.
But he founded the whole organization to train clowns to go into nursing homes and hospitals and even prisons and just administer, or just cheer up, administer in that way to anybody who needed it.
Kind of reminds me of Angels in Training or something, but dressed up like clowns.
Kind of.
I mean, if they're tying angels in with random acts of kindness, and I know I'm in a business that there's no escaping if I wanted to, because I said yes to life, like you, and like Jean, and like John. So tell us some stories about random acts of kindness, your experiences.
Well,
A short story.
a short story. I know we've gone into the nursing homes, and this one it's on State Street here in town, and Woodview. We go in there with the group of us, and we sang a lot of times, a lot of the old songs. That's what the nursing home residents remember. You are my sunshine. This and that.
Yes.
And we have gotten several times where someone is just, totally within their shell, just never speaks, and we come along and they join right in the singing. There's one who never left her room. She would follow us. Then the rest of the night, this and that. So, yes, many times that has happened. Things like that has happened. So it's
And
great.
that's like consistent random act of kindness throughout the year. It's
Right.
not
We don't
just
do that.
one time or 1 week that you
Right.
practice these habits,
But this upcoming
divine habits.
week of random acts of kindness, we do have things scheduled. I think I saw scheduled. I think everything but Thursday had something, but we'll probably fill that in. But we'll be visiting various nursing homes at various times during the day or in the evening. On one day, I think we have both. So
Did anyone ever tell you that you keep a smile on your face?
I try.
Guess what? We have a phone call. This is
we do.
exciting. Yes.
All right.
Can they hear us? Hello out there.
Hi, Sandy. This is Jamie Onek.
Jamie Onek. Do I know? I know the truth about you, Jamie.
Yes, I'm calling to support the American Red Cross.
Yes.
Things that they've done for me in my life.
Will you tell us?
Sure. I was in kindergarten the year of the flood of 1982. And I remember I attended Nebraska Elementary School, and the American Red Cross helped aid in getting us children out of our school. We then had to attend Bloomingdale School. And upon our return to Nebraska, our gymnasium was filled full of toys for us children because the area that we were in was completely underwater. They allowed us to go in and pick 2 of the toys that we were most interested in. And then I'm not sure of the time frame when we were able to return to Nebraska, but I remember the American Red Cross mobiles coming around offering us food and water in our neighborhoods where we lived. And another time, about 3 years ago, when I was in Myrtle Beach, the American Red Cross helped us find a hurricane shelter during Hurricane Bonnie.
Wow.
And my payback for the American Red Cross was to help sandbag during this recent flood. And I drive school bus for Fort Wayne Community, and I also aided in transporting sandbaggers to those locations. And I did also get my hands wet by filling sandbags and helping the community there. And I just wanted to thank the American Red Cross. In my 28 years, they've aided me in 2 times of need, and I've seen all of their doings throughout the world. And I wanted to thank them for all of that.
Jamie, I'm speechless. I'm going to let Jean answer that.
I don't know if I can.
It really did, because, random acts of kindness isn't just something that is given. It's also something to receive. And it sounds like you, in sharing your story, that you have been graced. And it's just really very loving at this moment. Wow, thank you so much. And please, if you will, continue to stay with us, Jamie, in our continuous building of random acts of kindness in our city through any of the mediums. There's so many you'll see on the end of this program, and so many that aren't mentioned, because it takes all of us in the vision of one world, one dream, in the spirit of unity to make this happen. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you, and thanks for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Whew. Whoa, John! We need your help to speak up here.
Well, I think one of the things to remember is that random acts of kindness have been going on forever. Yes. Not in this organized fashion, but people have been doing that forever. When she was talking about the help of the Red Cross, it crossed my mind. I'm a lot older, and I was helped by the March of Dimes. I had polio in 1953, and if it hadn't been for the work of Franklin Roosevelt, who started the March of Dimes, we were assisted in that financially for the treatments that I had. Fortunately, I didn't have any lasting effects, but I remember now that I was helped by that somebody else took care of.
Well, see, sometimes it's like you don't recognize that you have been given the gift of a random act of kindness. And sometimes we don't recognize that we give random acts of kindness because sometimes people just don't say that to us, or they don't know how to communicate that to us. We've brought a list today with us, didn't we, John?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. What are some of the random acts of kindness ways, the no-cost, low-cost ways?
Well, if I can find them here.
You have a book. That's the book we're working on.
There's the book.
Well, one I heard of without the list was going through a toll booth someplace at a bridge or getting on the freeway or the tollway and paying for the toll for the person behind you. And when then
I had that happen to me.
Did you?
And it put such a smile on my face. I bet I just lit up. I thought, that was really nice. I'm going to do that. I can duplicate that, or even think of something really silly, which would be putting a smile on someone else's face.
I think the big thing about the movement called Random Acts of Kindness is making us all more aware of it and seeing opportunities that we might otherwise miss. But we've all been doing it.
Yes, we have.
Sometimes without having any intention of doing it. One time I was driving out of the parking lot at Parkview Hospital. I'm also a pastor, and I was in there a lot in those days, and I got talking to the parking lot attendant. She would give me 1 minute of her life every time I went out, and all I did was listen. Hardly said anything. Very, very nice lady. And wouldn't you know it, a few months later, she called me and wanted me to do her wedding, just because I had listened. Some of the people behind me waiting to get out weren't as happy as she was.
Yes.
I think I got tooted at a couple of times for listening too long, but I didn't know I was doing anything, and yet she felt I had paid attention to her. And it was unintentional. And being more intentional means we'll do more of it.
And unconditionally loving ourselves to love another individual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us about the Kiwanis.
Well, Kiwanis is, as a matter of fact, just last week turned 90 years old.
90.
Yeah, that's even older than me. Not much. But
I'm going to call it 90 years young, John.
And it was founded actually in my hometown of Detroit and has been going ever since. And the Downtown Kiwanis Club here in Fort Wayne is about 72 or 3 years old, I think. So we were one of the early clubs, very early in the formation of it. And we've been going ever since. Kiwanis, along with a lot of other service clubs like Rotary and Lions and quite a few others, have existed for a long time, allowing business people and others, professional people, as well as others in other occupations to be a part of this fellowship of persons who want to serve the community. For a while they were all male. Thank goodness we changed that, because that's how we got Gene.
Well, the world doesn't operate with just males, John.
Well, no, that's true, and I hate to admit it, but I wasn't in favor of it in the beginning because I like the all-boys club.
I'm glad you changed
But
your
I
mind.
changed my tune because our club's alive because of the women we have in the club, I believe.
We won him over.
You won him over?
We did.
And
Well,
how was
it's
it?
been- I got one over a long time ago, yeah.
Was there one specific random act of kindness that won John over? Gene?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Well, women kept our club from dying.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
We were in charge of a lot of the projects.
Yes,
Is that
right,
what-
still are.
Still are.
Did you know that the two ways that random acts of kindness serves in our nation? They serve to provide information for ongoing kindness programs. And they also serve to organize the weekly campaign. A weekly campaign for the awareness of that. Did you know that, John?
Well, no, I didn't. 1
Learned
week
some-
a year, you mean?
Yes. For the last 10 years, Random Acts of Kindness celebrated the second week of February. Last year, it ended up to be on Valentine's Day. It started at the beginning with an opening celebration and ended on the Saturday of that week. And all throughout the week, there would be a remote from the radio station, WLD, and they'd be at a different location throughout the community. Yeah. And Sandy Thompson, God bless Sandy Thompson.
every
Every year she would MC the show. And it started, I don't know where the show started, but I know we ended the last celebration last year at the Glenbrook Mall. And there were so many people who came out and so much talent and just so many organizations. I mean, you'll see most of them at the end of the credits of the show, but they're just too numerous because people just, even though they're not physically present, I think they're either spiritually or mentally present with the thought of random act of kindness, thought, word, or action. Yeah, yeah. So where are we going now? We're calling people today on this random act of kindness program. We'd like to hear from you. We'd like you to call in.
Call on in.
Do you know the number, Jean?
No. Why don't you tell us?
I just feel like I'm doing all the talking all the time. We're just having so much fun. The number is 260-422-3902. Wherever you are, anywhere in the United States, you can call in to us. You don't have to be physically present to call in.
No.
No. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty. There are other chapters throughout the United States. And I will say, thank you, Fort Wayne. We honor you today and all throughout the year because we have served as the role modeling city.
That's great.
Yes.
Well, we are such a giving city. I'm always amazed at, from all ages, the number of people that will give of their time and their financial resources. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to live. I just love it.
You have a story that you brought with you today.
Oh,
I know.
I have a lot of them.
Yeah, you do?
Yes. Well, especially, Sandra, through the tsunami relief, we have had a tremendous outpouring of support from our community for people that I think the total now is over 200,000 lives lost. I mean, it's a huge tragedy worldwide. And most people think, and the publicity a lot is, you know, the $1 million givers, the $100,000 givers, the $1,000 givers. But I think what impresses me the most are the givers of very small amounts, especially the children, because as you're young and you learn about giving and sharing, I think that stays with you throughout your life. And Red Cross is a wonderful recipient of that giving spirit. We had a young child come in with a baggie and his lunch money and donated that for the tsunami relief efforts. We had 2 young girls whose parents on a Saturday drove them from Columbia City to Fort Wayne to donate each $2.
Oh, that just sent chills through my body. You're kidding.
No, and we always ask for their names because we like to send them a thank you. And they said, no, we don't want a recognition. We just want to know that we're helping. We had another gentleman, another wonderful story. We had a gentleman come in, and he likes to boat on Lake Michigan. And he gave us a donation for the tsunami relief efforts. And his story was that he had been out in Lake Michigan several times and had been caught in terrible storms. In fact, once I think a tornado, and didn't know whether he was going to survive or not. And he said what he has experienced really paled in comparison to what the people in South Asia are experiencing.
Oh.
So aren't those wonderful stories?
And I'm sure you've had stories locally from the flooding in Fort Wayne.
Oh, we have. As Jamie talked about volunteering, I mean, the Red Cross is so blessed to have terrific volunteers. Just here locally, we have over 1,500 volunteers. And for the flooding, 27 of them came out, and not only during the week, but also stayed on the weekend and went out into the affected neighborhoods to help the families, to distribute the cleanup kits, just to help whatever was needed for the people that were affected. So we're just so blessed. I just can't say enough about the giving spirit in our community.
I'd like to know from one of our viewers out there how they feel when they give something. I want to know what your feelings are. I want to know. The number's 422-3902. We want to know, don't we?
Absolutely.
We want to know what it feels like to give. And we'd like to hear from you, so pick up the phone and call us. And if you don't want to pick up the phone, there will be an address at the end. We'd like you to send us your random act of kindness message, and you can earn your wings that way, too. How's that?
Yeah.
That's great. We're just unfolding this as we go along, aren't we, folks? John, you have a special story as well with one of the projects throughout the year. And
Yes.
Kiwanis.
Yes, Kiwanis, of course, has participated in lots of projects, but there was one a couple of years ago. Look to make sure I get the name right. A collection of pop-top tabs
Yes.
for use for sending to Riley Hospital for support of persons there. It was started by a young lady, actually a student who had been one of the had been a cancer patient and cancer survivor.
She was a young girl.
She was just 8 years old.
Yes.
This was started in 2003 by Tiara Reynolds, and she was treated at Riley and fortunately was cured of her cancer. And she said that she wanted to find some way to pay it back. So it started this collection. She wanted to collect 1 million aluminum pop tabs by October 1st of 2002. And that all caught hold, and as it turned out, when it finished, the campaign finished, by October 1st, she had 6,291,000 pop tabs from Fort Wayne area. And it was a lot of organizations, including Kiwanis, that participated in that. In fact, there was a time when Habitat for Humanity was also collecting the cans for their project, and the tabs went to this project, and so both ends of the can got taken care of.
Good old Habitat for Humanity.
And in fact, the pop tabs are still being collected. I have a little container at my house where
For another cause, for another project?
No,
or
it
for
still
her?
goes to Riley,
For her?
I think.
Oh, just for Riley. Yeah,
but
that's
because
another-
of being started by this, I think it still goes in her name, if I'm not mistaken. One of our members takes care of that and makes sure they get where they go. And for some, people like my wife and I who are only slightly addicted to soft drinks, we have lots of tabs to put in there.
Thank you for sharing that, John. We know the truth about you now.
Caffeine and I are great companions.
Send them. So where can they send those pop tabs? To the Kiwanis of Fort Wayne, and that's the original downtown chapter, right?
That's right. We were the one that started first, and all the rest came after that. We are no longer the largest, unfortunately, but that's because we're downtown and harder to get to. But we're still proud of our history. In fact, we are now the result of two clubs coming together. So
Which is, two clubs of
two
Kiwanis?
Kiwanis clubs merged a couple of years ago.
Partnering.
Yeah, and that worked very well. We got some really high-class workers from the other club.
That's that Noah's Ark concept, 2 by 2 with one another.
Did you come from that?
We're not
other
alone.
club?
Yeah.
You came in since. Yeah.
So, Sunbeam, you're really quiet sitting next to
They're
me.
saying so many good things about random acts of kindness. I hardly know where to, jump in. But
Let's look at some more of that. Oh,
hold that.
oh, I'll
You may
hold
have
this. Oh, I'll hold it. That's a pretty
You
color.
can have it. You don't have to just hold it.
Pink's a popular color, you know.
It is, yes. Okay, here's a random page here with this bookmark. Miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. The real miracle is the love that inspires them. In this sense, everything that comes from love is a miracle.
Whew. I feel like we're on the Miracle Network here.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I should say that, but that's what it feels like.
Oh, my goodness. That's a different phone number. Huh.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. And the phone number, yours, 422-3906?
422-3902.
Oh.
See, we always need help from one another.
There you go. I thought I had it. I was going to play it cool.
Yeah, we always need help from one another.
Sure,
Helps
we
us
do.
to see the differences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about helping one another.
I think it's really stirring when something comes along that transcends all of our differences and the barriers that get in between us. And the tsunami disaster has done that,
Yes.
I think, because there's nothing controversial about it.
Yes.
It's a terrible disaster. It happened to a lot of people, and people here have responded very well. And our culture and our world really needs that. We hear an awful lot on the other side about the greedy culture, and we are to some extent. That now we get a chance to come out of that without any strings attached, without any controversy. It's a disaster. We respond to it. Period.
Well, and what better way than to show with the action? I mean, we learn from one another through our actions. It's not so much of what we say, because sometimes things change rapidly. It's through the action that they learn. I learn that way anyway. Yeah. Jean,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm kind of thinking that the audience may want to know, how much money was collected for a tsunami?
Well, nationally, the American Red Cross has collected over $200 million.
Really?
Yes.
That's
which is
awesome.
It's the largest collection ever for an international disaster. So it's a wonderful, outpouring of support. And it sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But when you think about not only the lives lost, but also, 12 countries, people in 12 countries affected, and the lives that are now have been majorly affected by this disaster. I mean, it's going to take many, many years for folks to really come out of it and start to be prosperous again. It's really a tragedy beyond imagination. But I think I agree with John. The stories that we've been hearing about different political factions, warring political factions, laying down their arms to deliver supplies and to help. It's sad that it takes something like this to bring the world together, because the world certainly needs to come together much more often than it does. But it's a wonderful outpouring of support. Now here locally, we've collected about $150,000, and I can't tell you, yes, I mean, how generous. Again, Jamie volunteering as a sandbagger, our volunteers coming out. We're one of many organizations that do that, people donating money. It says a lot about the good of our community that we don't hear much about.
It sure does. The other day, someone said to me, "Thank you for saying thank you." I thought, wow, that was that, and all I did was open the door or something like that. It was at a convenience station, and he said, "Thank you for saying thank you." I said, I'm gonna borrow that line. So now I found myself duplicating that factor.
Well, and I think in addition to Red Cross response to tsunami, all the churches have responded using their own organization through which they send money. Kiwanis International Foundation has already sent money, and there are actually clubs over there, Kiwanis clubs in the area of the tsunami. So we could go through them. And now our local club donated immediately, only we gave it to Jean for Red Cross.
Through Red Cross.
Through
we give it to Red Cross through Jean. Yeah.
Just like I say, everything goes through Angels at God Central Station. It just goes through it. It's quite interesting.
We didn't want to send it through the maze of network you have in organizations. We just gave it right to the source here.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very awesome. We have to remind our audience again to call in to share their memory or their miracle or the magnificence of the random acts of kindness in your life right here, right now on this episode of Calling All Angels Hotline, live at 5. Yeah.
So, what have you experienced in random acts of kindness for you lately?
My life became a random act of kindness, John. I live, I breathe, I sleep. I have another show. Actually, we have another show. I'm not alone with this, called Angels Talk Soul Relationships. And that airs weekly on Fridays at 2 p.m. And recently, Angels Talk Soul Relationships and Calling All Angels Hotline experienced a huge random act of kindness from the legend of Access Television in New York. That means all of the programs that are intertwined with random acts of kindness and the artists and the people who come on each episode to share their divine gifts are going to be circulated via way of television through Access TV.
Great.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Beyond Fort Wayne.
Beyond Fort Wayne. And
To the world.
yes, and I'm looking for more support to assist to continue its bicycling network that one of the angel assistants from the station kind of planted as a seed. I think it was his random act of kindness. And we're on a wing and a prayer, allowing that to take shape and fly.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's a big random acts of kindness because to me it reflects the vision of one world, one dream in the spirit of unity, which is Angels at God Central Station's vision. And it includes all of us. Can't do it alone. Yeah.
And just a little partisan here, I would like to think that a lot of the good nature of Fort Wayne has to do with it being the city of churches.
The unifying
Little
city
commercial
of churches.
for my job.
That's right, the unifying city of churches. And I'd like to see more of the unifying city of churches come together on this foundation of the functions where we can organize the week campaign to include them. Thus far, it hasn't been that. But I do believe that since we experienced such a holy shift with tsunami and Kiwanis, and including the clouds, that there is every reason now for a wake-up call, like wake up and remember who we really are. Yeah. The divine in everyone, the divine in all of us.
Crises and disasters tend to pull that out of us because they capture our attention and we get focused on one thing that we're all working for. And then we tend to close back into ourselves after that seems to be solved because it's not always completed. You find that in communities where the weather is a worse problem than here. They have to go together to work against to live in the bad weather, like in the far north. And it's a good lesson for us. We become a little too content in our nice warm homes with air conditioning in the summertime.
Well, I'll tell you something. My experience in the recent flooding here in Fort Wayne, I was very thankful that I felt like I was in my little ark, Noah's Ark, over there on Covington and Geneva, because I really had the compassion for the people in the other countries who are our brothers, and we are our brother's keeper. And in that exemplification.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it amazing what we can do when we do come together? Just the power, talk about the power of one, the power of a community, the power of communities worldwide. It's just phenomenal. It really is. I don't think I've seen an outpouring of support ever in my lifetime internationally than I have through the tsunami relief efforts. And it is a shame that it takes something so dramatic and so heartbreaking for us to come together and be as one. I think what we ought to try and do is to do these kinds of things a lot more often. because we have needs right here in our community.
Yes, yes.
And nobody stopped to ask the question, is this worth supporting? It just happened in days, in hours,
Oh, yeah.
from the time the crisis was announced. Nobody asked the question, nobody checked their budgets, they just did it.
Just let it go. Release and let go.
It's the one thing that organizations get criticized for, is too much organization, that they can't act fast enough. Fortunately, Red Cross is a great example for us all to act fast, because they're used to doing that.
Spontaneous.
Yeah.
And Sunbeam, if you'll pass that book to Jean, and she's going to share the next random act of kindness.
Certainly.
Living the truth in your heart without compromise brings kindness into the world. How appropriate is that? Attempts at kindness that compromise your heart only cause sadness.
Just breathe
Deep.
that one away.
Very powerful.
Just let go.
There's not very many people in the world that don't know what's good and what's bad. They don't always do it. There are a few who don't know the difference. But the question is whether we're motivated to do what's really best for everybody.
Well, I take, for myself, John, if you don't mind me sharing, I live each day like it's the last day on the planet. I'm on a mission with this vision, and I jump out of bed with zeal and enthusiasm. And I actually purposely fall in love every day, and find all of the wonders around me.
She must be one of those morning persons.
Well, I'm not going to tell you, because sooner or later you're going to hear what time I wake up, and I'm not going to be the one to tell you. Everybody knows in the city what time.
I saw I'm not a morning person, and
Oh.
I get it for that sometimes. And I saw the greatest cartoon, a Garfield cartoon, says, if we were all meant to pop out of bed in the morning, we'd sleep in toasters.
Certainly.
Well, I do. I think, but we're all different, John.
Well, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to take a few moments and talk about Ron Bonar. Ron Bonar, who has taken the torch for the last 10 years and cleared the path. He's an angel. He's an angel. And he's so much of, he's love. That he's divine love. And he really put the heart and soul in the Random Acts of Kindness movement. And last year he received, in honor of our city, our unifying city of churches, a letter from President Bush. Yes, and no one knew it was coming. It came the night before, and I was just so honored to see him receive that. And he's so humble that he's so humble. He's humble. Yeah, and he also received an Angel Achievement Award, and that Angel Achievement Award was for blending spirituality with public service in this random act way. I mean, a lot of times, they say that we should separate those. With the divine in everyone, we can't separate that, because we are all connected. I mean, I don't know how many, I can share stories that I can tell you miraculous, where in my life, where I've gone to work without money and was fed because I trusted in that. I trusted in that divine. I can tell you stories where I've gone to work without gas and didn't know how I was going to get home. And a miracle happened, that point of grace where I trusted in that happening. Today's episode is truly a random act of kindness, that you're here sharing your stories about our community. Yeah.
There was another line in this book that really jumped out at me. It's a word that I learned a long time ago in my education as a pastor. This is a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. Agape, which is a Greek word, is understanding, creative, redemptive goodwill toward all persons. Agape is an overflowing love which seeks nothing in return. Theologians would say that it is the love of God operating in the human heart. When you rise to love on this level, you love all persons not because you like them, not because their ways appeal to you, but you love them because God loves them. Now, he was one who understood that.
I told you I knew the truth about you, John. That is very, very, very
Not
true.
beautiful?
Yeah.
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 And we've all met someone whose life, and often very simple persons, who show that all the time and don't even know they do. A long time ago, we took our kids trick-or-treating on a Halloween back in the 70s. And we only took them to places we were sure about. And we took them to this delightful elderly lady in my congregation. And when they went in, she had wrapped green olives in aluminum foil because she knew our son loved olives. He's probably the only kid that ever got olives for Halloween. Think about that, what that, on the part of that lady who thought that much to do that simple thing. And she used to tell me, I don't understand why people are so good to me. I said, it's because you're so good to everybody else. And she was. She was just a wonderfully gracious lady.
Grace. You said a magic word. You know, sometimes people ask me, what is angels at God's Central Station? To me, it represents the grace and good in all people. There is good in everyone. And if they don't understand that, I just ask them to, or suggest them to pray about it and find out for themselves, because God has its own way of giving information sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to take a moment and show you the 26 seconds of Angels Talk Soul Relationships. I'd like to show everybody, because Ron Bonar's on there. Our mayor's office is on there. Our youth of Fort Wayne, our Teen Angels, which was a program that I started for their involvement, and the babies. And I just like to share that with you, because I want to share with everybody. I want to share everything. Why not?
Why not?
So, if our angels' assistants in the director's see, I do make mistakes. See, we'll share that at this moment. Let's take a look at that. Watch this. Wait till you see. Sunbeam, what did you just say?
I saw a picture of Charlie Willer on there, and I just remembered, you know, what a great person he was. Another fellow clown, among many other things. He was well known throughout Fort Wayne for his railroading expertise, his love of mass transit, if he could ever get that going, his love of music, and you know, just many attributes that he had.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
That information was literally an answer to my prayer. I said, God, because Charlie's theme music is the music of the show. He gifted it to Angels at God Central Station. And Charlie is truly a Charlie Angel. He passed a year ago this week.
He's the one that was known amongst railroaders as
Yes.
Choo Choo Charlie.
Yeah.
wasn't
Choo
he?
Choo Charlie.
On the radio.
Yes.
He was on the radio quite a bit. Yeah.
Yes, and I
Something.
said, God, this is your plan. This show is yours. Unfold it. I'll just step in and move out of the way a little bit. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw him on the
Great.
piano.
Yeah, I saw
And-
him.
yeah,
Yeah.
that show recently aired in New York.
Oh,
Yeah, that
all
was
right.
here locally, and you saw our next generation on that clip, and the babies, and Random Acts of Kindness even brings animals, don't they?
Oh, certainly, yes.
Yeah, the animal care
That was-
control.
Yeah, that was always a big part of it, bringing the animals out available for adoption and such. And quite a few of them got new homes because of that. So.
And the fire
great.
department, and the sheriff's department. You were telling me a story in the bathroom about a friend or relative of yours when you first moved here, and you were introduced to Random Acts. Would you mind sharing that?
No, it was. I had never heard of Random Acts of Kindness Week, and when I first moved to Fort Wayne 6 years ago, one of our employees' daughters was stopped by a policeman going to school, going to our high school. And she had a carload of girls, and she thought she had gone the speed limit and everything was fine, but she got very nervous. And so the story is that he pulled her over and gave her a ticket for pizza from Pizza Hut. And she was so excited about that. That was just, and so I learned more about Random Acts of Kindness because I've lived in many communities throughout my life, and I'd never heard of this before, and Fort Wayne being one of the leader actually in the Random Acts of Kindness movement. What a terrific thing about our city. Sometimes our city doesn't get the kind of credit that it really deserves for the wonderful people that we have and the terrific things that they do for all of us.
That's absolute, and there's so many people, places, and things that I could barely fit them on the credits at the end. But one major contributor who has been loyal and has shown the trust and reliance with Random Acts of Kindness, Pizza Hut of Fort Wayne, Pizza Hut restaurants. Without a doubt, they were there supplying those coupons for anyone who was caught in the act. Hello. Yeah, and yeah.
Well, and at first she didn't know why she was given the coupon, and the policeman explained because she had given rides to school to 5 of her girlfriends. And she didn't really think of that as an act of kindness, but it certainly was. How would they have gotten to school without transportation from her?
Yes, it truly is. Well, now we're at an opportune time again, 10 years. It was 10 years last year for Random Acts of Kindness here in our unifying city of churches. The fun Fort Wayne, right, Sunbeam?
Right. Fun.
Yes, and we welcome you out there to come forth with your thoughts, your words, and your actions now to formulate more of Random Acts of Kindness. There's an address that will be at the end of the show, or they can reach me at Sandra at Angels at God Central Station, or they can reach Eugene, can't they?
Sure. At the
And
Red Cross.
At the Red Cross, and I think I have your phone number listed on there. And John, you're a Newburgh with Random Act of Kindness. You're in now.
Okay.
There's no escaping. Thank you for coming forth and bringing all of your gifts and all of your lines of connections, because I know you have many, many coming in and out of the Kiwanis internationally, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My soul wants to expand Random Acts of Kindness in what I do, and without your help, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. We all know that. Yeah.
It's interesting, the concept of organizing random.
I know it. I know it. And that's why when I try to explain what the history of Angels at God Central Station, because it's really new, I say the divine plan defines itself as we go along. And we're creating a one-story book.
Well, I think it's a matter of keeping people's awareness up and then let the random acts come as they will.
Well, we'd like to hear those random acts.
Yes.
Yes. I have the P.O. Box address up here at the end of the show, and it's almost time to end, and we're going off live. And it's time to end the show. Would you guys help me?
How much later?
Oh.
About 8 inches longer.
Sunbeam! Sunbeam! Hey, listen up. We've got to end the show. Will you help me?
Sure.
It's real easy.
yeah, do
Divine love and holy kisses. I'll call you in when it's time.
All right.
Thank you all for taking the time to stop, look, and listen in our divine appointment here on another episode of Calling All Angels Hotline, live at 5, calling you from the #1 access station. And with that we say, divine love and holy kisses. We'll see you on the next episode of Calling All Angels. I think we did it.
We think we did it?
I think we did it.
All right.
Hatred cannot drive away hatred. Only love can do that. Darkness cannot drive away darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive away hatred. Only love can do that. All you soldiers of peace, hatred has an enemy. If we want the fighting to cease, remember these words from the fallen king. Darkness cannot drive away darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive away